Hey guys, today's video is about bookkeeper pricing. So I'm going to go over different pricing methods and what I recommend you charge when you're starting out as a bookkeeper. I'm Morgan from FinePoints.biz, and I love to help you guys get organized in your bookkeeping businesses. So today I'm going to be answering a question that I've gotten so much, and I always felt like I didn't have the best answer for it, just because I feel like I currently don't have my pricing like all figured out. But I was getting this question so much, and I have a lot to say on the topic, so I figured I'd just get on here, tell you all my thoughts and kind of like the pros and cons of different pricing methods and kind of like what I would recommend. Definitely hit the red subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up, that helps me out so much. And then also if you hit the notification bell, YouTube should alert you every week when I have a new video. All right, so some of the things I'm going to talk about in this video is hourly pricing, fixed rate pricing, and then possibly charging by transaction or by bank account or as a percentage of your client's income. At the end, I'll talk more about being a contractor and why someone would want to pay you a higher rate as a contractor, and tips and tricks that will help you make sure that you're not undercharging for your services. So starting out with one of the most basic ways to charge is per hour. So you're probably familiar with this. Obviously, when you work minimum wage jobs, you get paid by the hour, as well as, different contractors. You might pay your plumber or your lawyer or your doctor by the hour. Probably not your doctor, but anyways, so I've said in other videos, I think it's reasonable to start as a beginning bookkeeper in 2020 at around $40 an hour. Definitely do some research in your area and make sure that that is reasonable. And then you can definitely raise your rates as you get more experience. And I get some comments, people saying that's crazy. Why would you pay a bookkeeper $40, $50, $60, $70, $80 an hour? Because, any advertisements I'm seeing on Craigslist or job postings, the rate is $20 an hour. And that is the difference between being a contractor and then being an employee of a business. So I'm going to talk about that at the end, kind of what the differences are and how you can sell yourself to an employer that they want to hire you as a contractor. So right now it's basically my goal to have clients on a fixed rate pricing. So in my ideal world, I'd have, a handful of clients because I want to work 2 days a week, and I would have them all pay me upfront a set amount every month so they know what to expect and I would know what to expect, and we do automatic payments. What I recommend is when you start out with a new client, start with your per hour rate, because it's really hard to figure out how much to charge someone because you really have no idea how their business works. A lot of times you're discovering things as you're getting to know the client. You might uncover some issues that they weren't even aware were there. It's hard to give people a fixed rate right off the bat. So what I do is I start out with an hourly rate, and then I get all their books set up. And also the beginning, when you're first setting a client, depending on what state their books are when you took them over, it's usually going to take more time because usually you're catching up or doing previous years and that kind of thing. So it's most of the time going to take more time, and plus you're just learning their business. So it'll be more time up front, so they get a bigger bill up front. And then in the first probably about 3 months, I can learn their business, figure out how long it's going to take me on a monthly basis. And then what I like to do is kind of after that initial period, after I feel like we're not doing back work, but we're just doing the normal work that I would be doing for the client, I'll figure out just internally in my mind about how long it's going to take me per month. And then I'll multiply it by the hourly rate that I want to be making. And then maybe add on a little bit more just in terms of if there's special projects or communication, or if there's, other services kind of start to creep into your workload that you weren't expecting, and just so that you feel like you're being paid fairly. Make sure you think about every little thing you're going to have to be paying for. So if you're covering their QuickBooks subscription, you're going to need equipment updates every so often, things like that. So get your hourly rate times what you think it'll take, and then add a little bit more, and then you can send your client a note saying this is the fixed rate price. You can let them know that it's for their benefit too, because then they will know exactly how much to budget for their bookkeeper each month. And I know many bookkeepers have different categories of clients. So they could classify it as small, medium, and large. So I've talked about that in other videos. I have a video about how many clients you need to make $100,000 per year, and I have a spreadsheet where you can work all that out. So I'll leave that link down below. In that video, I talked about small, medium, and large clients, and I had a lot of people ask kind of what how I thought of those clients. And basically a small client is just about 5 hours per month, a medium client is 10 hours per month, and a large client is 20 or more hours per month. All right, and another great way to figure out pricing for a client is to do it as a percentage of their income. And the reason why this makes sense is, of course, is because a client with a higher income is going to be able to afford a higher price for a bookkeeper, as well as they're going to have more work for you to do. So it's kind of like fair all around. So kind of an industry standard would be to charge about 1 to 3% of your client's gross income, and that would be how much they should spend on a bookkeeper or on all of their bill pay, and maybe some of their office workers are doing payroll or some of the bookkeeping tasks. So that might not all go to you exactly, but overall that's kind of what they should think to spend. I definitely recommend Veronica Wasik from 5 Minute Bookkeeping. She has a great pricing strategy, and I'll leave her information linked below. She has a YouTube channel and a blog. So I think for her fixed rate pricing, she does the 1 to 3% for any clients that are 300,000 or below, and that's that percentage. And then for clients that are like 300,000 to $1 million, she'll start with a base of $400 and then add on any extra services that they may need. So she gives the example for a client with about $500,000 in revenue, she would charge $650 per month as a bookkeeper. And that's just basic bookkeeping, reconciling bank accounts and that type of thing. And then for clients with over $1 million in revenue, it is also helpful to look at how much they would pay a full-time employee. Like if they had a bookkeeper sitting in their office working 40 hours a week, maybe they'd be making $45,000 to $50,000 a year. I don't really know. Then think about how much they would pay that full-time employee, and then you'll be doing the work quicker because you're not going to be dealing with all the office things that go along with working in an office. So it's actually a better deal for them to hire you than to hire a full-time employee, as well as all the benefits I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. And of course, you might not know how much your client makes when you're first meeting them. You might not know their annual income, which you can ask them straight up if you want, or bookkeepers often charge for an initial consultation. That just gives you a chance to look at the client's books and give them an estimate of how much you think it is going to cost them or how much time it will be taking you. You can take a look at their bank account, see how many transactions they have, see how complex everything is before you commit to a price. All right, and if you go check out Veronica, make sure to tell her that FinePoints sent you. All right, and then in the past, it was very common for bookkeepers to charge per transaction. So I have never done it that way, so I don't really know kind of what the rates are with that way. Definitely Google that if you're interested. But I think that's changed a lot now that we have bank feeds in QuickBooks Online, because we're not actually, the transactions, like entering the data for the transactions isn't the thing that's taking us the most time. The most time is, being aware of their finances, organizing things, and pulling reports. But it is still true that the bigger the account is, the more transactions, the more things they have going on, the more time it's going to take you and the more it should cost them. Also, definitely pay attention to the number of bank accounts that your client has, because each one is going to take you a significantly more time, because you're going to have to, look at the statement individually, reconcile it, deal with it, if it's another credit card, you'll have to pay it off. There's a lot of steps for each bank account. So if you have a client with one bank account with 400 transactions, that's going to take significantly less time than if you have a client with 4 bank accounts that each have 100 transactions. And then just a couple thoughts about pricing strategy. I know it's so hard when you're first starting out to really charge what you're worth, but I want you guys to think about all of the hidden costs that come along with starting your own business. So of course, you're paying for your own computer, you are paying for all of your equipment, all of your office supplies, you're paying for QuickBooks most of the time, for your education, you should be paying for insurance and your taxes. Like, there's business licenses, there's credit card fees. So every time someone pays you, you're probably paying a fee if it's a credit card. I know it's hard when you're starting out because often you don't feel worthy of this dollar amount that you should be charging. But if you add up all the dollars and cents, it really is not worth your while to work for a rate that is too low. That's not going to make you happy, and then of course you won't be able to do as good of a job for your clients if you're unhappy with your pay. And again, why the disparity between what a lot of job postings say they want to pay a bookkeeper and what you should be charging is mainly an employee versus a contractor. So say you see a job posting on a website and it says bookkeeper, $15 to $20 an hour. And you're like, I do not want to work for $15 or $20 an hour. I want you to go into the interview, knock it out of the park, see my video that is all about how to interview. I'm going to give you 5 or 6 talking points that talk about why it would be better for that person to hire you as a contractor instead of as an employee. So as a contractor, the main thing that you're saving an employer or your client in this case is taxes. So they're gonna have to pay so much more in Social Security, Medicare, workers' compensation, and unemployment taxes. As you probably know, when you're working for a company and you get your W-2, then they're paying all this money for you because they're required to. And then of course, all of the expenses that just come along with hiring an employee. So they need to give you an office space, a desk, a computer, like you're using all of your own equipment. So you're saving them all of that money. And don't forget, as a bookkeeper, you should have a specialized expertise. So like we've talked about before, anytime you can niche down and be specialized in a certain area of bookkeeping, that is gonna allow you to charge more money. And if sometimes employers just, have an office manager or an HR person do their bookkeeping, someone who's already in the office. But if you are only doing bookkeeping and you're focused on that and that's your thing, then you're gonna be a lot more quick and efficient. So you're gonna be able to do the same work in less time. So overall, the money is gonna equal out for them. And then of course, being a contractor is flexible, so both of you guys can terminate employment at any time, like if you're not liking the client or if the client doesn't need you anymore. Unlike employees where there might be like more hoops to jump through, usually that's not the case with a contractor. And then as a contractor, your client is not responsible for you, so they don't have to worry about like you taking sick time or leave or disability. They're not responsible for you if someone sues you. Like as an employer, if you're an employee for someone and someone sues the company, then you have to basically cover for your people. So that's not the case as a contractor. All right, in my recent videos, I've been talking about the bookkeeper exam to be a QuickBooks Pro advisor. So definitely check out those. I did one all about how I passed the exam and tips and tricks for the test, as well as exactly how to find that free bookkeeper certification. I'm gonna leave those all linked down below for you guys. I hope you're having a great day. I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.